count of the number of public hearings that we have tonight. When you
Yep.
Call the meeting to order.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's several public hearings tonight, so we are going to forego the open forum for tonight. First one up is 444 Broadway. Anyone need a notice?
Yep. Public hearing will be held on Monday, March 20th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the Menands Municipal Building at 250 Broadway for the purpose of the following. 1, the subdivision of 444 Broadway. 2, local law repealing chapter 153-9 in the code -6, sorry, of the code for the Village of Menands, volunteer firefighters, real property tax exemption, replacing it with local law number 2 of 2023, enacting a 10% property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters pursuant to section 4066-A of the Real Property Code. Number 3, local law number 3 of 2023, authorizing a property tax levy in excess of the limit established by General Municipal Law 3-C. Such openings are open to the public, accessible to the handicapped.
All right. First up, we have a subdivision at 444 Broadway. Nobody from there.
I'm here, Philip.
You're here?
Yes,
Okay.
how you doing?
Sorry.
I'm Philip Sabatino. I'm the realtor representing the purchaser.
Okay. Any comments you want to make?
No, I think we're all set.
Any comments from the public?
I'll support this subdivision 44 Broadway here in Menands for several reasons. Thank you for letting me say it.
Okay. Yeah. We'll move on after we finish the public hearing. Next up is local law number 2, volunteer firefighters real property tax exemption. Tim read the notice last week. Any comments from the public?
Oh, you mean this local number 2 volunteer? I do. I do support volunteer firefighters and rescue workers getting real property tax exemption because they're being kind enough to give our community their time and labor. It's protecting life and property in the Village of Menands, and I feel they deserve to be given real estate property tax exemption. So go ahead. I urge you to approve of this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
You guys support it?
Woo!
You already had my support.
Ethan's moving along for the ride.
Thank you. You already have my support.
Well, you're even protected if he does die.
Exactly,
Tell you
right?
that, so, sorry for me.
And then, are we supposed to be closing these
I
out?
can close it as you're doing it.
And then local law number 3, authorizing the property tax levy in excess of the limit established by the general municipal law. We've done this for several years. The budget is staying within the tax cap, but we pass this law in the event that there might be any errors made, and there's no conflict with doing it. There's no more rebate that the people get since 2019, so there's no ramifications to doing it. It's just to protect village finances. Okay.
I got a comment. I'm opposed to going above the 2% tax cap for financial, economic, budgetary, and moral reasons. We should stick with the 2% tax cap and live by it, as Andy Taylor says, so I'm expressing my strong opposition to going above the 2% tax cap. Thank you for letting me speak.
We're happy to know the new budget stays within the tax cap. This is just to protect the village budget.
Procedure.
Very well.
Anybody else? All right.
Do I need a motion to close the public hearing or?
No,
We don't, okay.
no.
All right, so I guess we are moving on to approve the meeting minutes of the March 6, 2022 board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Don, you made those.
Yeah, all those changes.
All the things.
Sorry about that. Move to approve the March 9th budget workshop.
Make a motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Second.
Marshall. General warrant number 20. General, $168,655.98. Water, $4,355.15. Sewer, $525 even, totaling $173,536.13. Payroll number 21, $94,113.53.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
So Don, going forward, I'm gonna work with you to figure out a way to squeeze that onto a sheet for the board members.
We can do that.
So that, right, so
I'll just-
that way we can listen to it rather than.
Yeah, right, just.
Rather than.
Please scribble it
We have 2 transfers. Clerk of the courts, 5,000, part-time overtime clerk, $5,000. Youth, $600, youth transportation, $600 for the skiing trips. And those are your transfers.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so Matt sent us, and Jim's here too, if you have any questions, some information today regarding a subdivision at 444 Broadway. Do you want to talk about it or you?
Sure. So this project has come before the board. Previously, it's essentially subdividing a land to allow for sale of one of the buildings. No use changes. With a minor lot line adjustment associated with this one to get a setback, to meet setback requirements in the zoning code, which has been taken care of. Lavella didn't have any further technical concerns about the application. So we are at this point recommending approval with a couple conditions that are noted in the approval for application.
So we have the seeker.
Yep, so there is a seeker resolution and then the subdivision approval resolution to be looked at tonight.
Do the subdivision.
I gave you guys all the resolutions. I didn't leave.
I have the seeker form and I have the resolution.
Yeah.
So there's one resolution, sorry, that was confusing. There's one resolution that acts on the seeker and the subdivision approval. at the same
Oh, so that
time.
does the same thing.
Yep, and then you've got the seeker documentation. as
Yeah.
presented.
Okay. Does somebody want to read the resolution?
Sure. A resolution of the Menands Village Board issuing seeker negative declaration 2-lot minor subdivision approval, 442 to 444 Broadway in Menands, SBL 44-17, 44 18-2-15. Whereas the applicant, Nico Ventures LLC, proposes a minor 2-lot subdivision of parcel 44.18-2-15 into lot 1, 442 Broadway, to be 44,166 plus or minus square feet, and lot number 2, 444 Broadway, to be 3.81 plus or minus acres. And whereas the parcel is owned by Nico Ventures LLC and located at 444 Broadway, and whereas Nico Ventures LLC is seeking to convey proposed lot 1 to 4G Realty Holdings LLC and retain proposed lot 2, and whereas both lots are improved by existing retail buildings and future uses are proposed to remain retail. Whereas the village board deemed the application complete on March 6, 2023 and scheduled a public hearing. And whereas on March 16, 2023, Albany County Planning Board found that the proposed 2-lot subdivision will not result in a significant countywide or intermunicipal impact. And whereas the village board conducted a public hearing on March 20th, 2023, and whereas the village board has reviewed parts 1 and 2 of the short environmental assessment form as required by SECRA review, and whereas the village board has sole decision-making authority for the proposed 2-lot subdivision and therefore declares itself lead agency for the proposed SECRA review, and whereas the village board has determined that no significant adverse environmental impacts are anticipated as a result of the proposed 2-lot subdivision and issues a negative declaration. And whereas due to the nature of the project, the village board waives the requirements of A 173-9.c public land. Now therefore be it resolved that the Menands Village Board hereby issues a 2-lot subdivision approval as proposed with the following conditions. Required escrow shall be provided within 7 days of this approval. Shared access agreement, including a maintenance agreement, shall be referenced in the deeds for both properties due to the proposed use of shared ingress and egress between 442 and 444 Broadway, and future uses on proposed lots 1 and 2 shall comply with the requirements of Chapter 169 zoning. And I move this for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have we established what that,
Thank you.
what that escrow amount is?
Yes, there is an escrow letter pending, and we had some correspondence with the applicant today, and I think that's moving forward.
Everything's moving forward.
June?
Yes.
Jen, you need a copy of that, or do you need this? Or the speakers, that is signed?
Yeah, yes, you can email it to me.
I'll leave it in morning. Yep.
All right, so you're good.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You want to stay for us?
No, no.
Yeah, you know.
Thank you very much. guys.
You're welcome to do so.
Yes, thank you. All right,
Uh,
I'm looking for us as soon as I get to the car.
Next up, it says masonry work for 250, but
I switched it. It's on the, I gave you a new.
Yeah. Look on here. We're at approval of local law number 2, volunteer fire.
just put out masonry work.
I put it
No,
down
no,
at the
Moved
bottom.
it to number 10.
Are we gonna postpone that?
Number 10. So what are we proposing?
Well, the masonry work, I had emailed, Warren had an email going back, and I asked her if she had gotten the new quotes that she's gonna try to get from somebody, and I never heard back from her.
Yeah, she was out today,
Okay.
but I understand that she has not gotten back there.
Yeah, so I think that we need to,
Table
Later
it,
on.
yeah.
yeah. table
It just
it.
was confusing looking, because the Daveco estimate was really specific about the quotes for the different pieces.
Yeah.
And then the other one was really not, and it was so different in total that we just want to make sure we're understanding that the scope of work for each of the 3 is as close to, the same as.
Yeah, and I think there are some differences in the scopes as presented.
Okay.
My understanding is three contractors went out to the site and provided a proposal for how they would approach the work that needs to be done.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just table that to the next
I
meeting.
mean, within the bid itself, does it say very specifically, what the work is required and don't they have to stick within those?
So this one, we actually did not prepare a bid,
We just got quotes.
Oh,
so,
it just was quotes, okay,
yeah.
So if they looked at different things, they just quoted different
all right.
pieces of work that needed to be done.
But yeah, I think one of the 3 quotes actually did recommend some demolition work that the other 2 did not, so that's just, in
Okay.
terms of professional opinion and
So when she gets back, and we have a couple weeks, we'll try to get it out.
Right, it's not the season for that really to start anyway, is it?
We'll get
Right,
close.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, next is to approve local law number 2, the volunteer firefighters real property tax exemption.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That's
Now,
Diane.
been
That's
done at
Diane.
the county,
That's Diane.
state, or,
I don't know about the town.
the town, it's proposed with the town, I think.
So the only thing I have to check on is to see if the school district itself has, it'll be covered as long as,
So
I don't think
I don't think it's off of school, it's
Okay.
just
Just village.
village. town,
Okay.
and county.
A little bit of confusion last discussion.
Because everyone gets a rebate on this as a star exemption for school, so that's,
Okay.
that's,
Right, perfect.
You get all three. It's before the county now. I don't know about the town.
I think,
The town part.
no, I think.
I know the
I
county,
think-
the county's working. on it.
I think it was being considered at the time.
We're just ahead of the game.
Yes, we are.
Perfect. We appreciate it.
Always gotta watch out for you. All right, approval of local law number 3, authorizing the property tax levy in excess of,
Yes,
um,
the limit.
limit established in the general municipal law C3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discussion regarding changing the name of Railroad Avenue.
I spoke to, Wade at, NICOM to ask him about this, just because I've never done this before. And he says it can be done by a resolution only by the board. I spoke to the resident that currently lives on Railroad Avenue, and he's okay with changing the name to Station Street. This
So
would,
back up a little bit and just explain,
oh, okay.
because of the public here.
Railroad Avenue, there's 2 Railroad Avenues in the town of Colony. And when trucks come down to use, they put in GPS Railroad Avenue, they're coming down here and going up either Clifford Road or Menands Road, and they're causing damage to take down power lines and everything else. For a long time now, the board has been talking about changing the name. When I was doing the streetlight LED on the map that National Grid gave me, the little road that at the top of Tillinghast that goes to Menands Road had a name of Station Street on it. So I asked Meg about switching, if, you know, I told her and Brian, they were in the office at the time, and I told them about it. So then I approached the town of Colony Communications and the E911, and they were both in favor of it because it will eliminate one of the railroad avenues and it wouldn't be any confusion. And so I also spoke to the homeowner that currently lives there, and they're all in favor of it. So
Have you ever done anything like this before?
I have not.
So Wade said we only need to do it by
to
resolution.
do it by resolution, and then what I have to do is I have to send a copy of the resolution to Albany County Real Property, E911, the town of Colony, and the town assessor's office,
The postmaster.
and the postmaster. And it's on my list.
And the postmaster.
Seems like
We
we only have one house, but if there was 30 houses, it would seem like you'd want a public hearing. To say it's by resolution doesn't make sense to me.
well, I mean, that is the way we did the name changes, you know, 15 or so years ago, when we changed a couple of street names.
Steve, you're there.
Yeah, Steve was here. Yeah.
Does that sound right, Steve? We can change the names just by resolution?
Yeah, that's fine. As long as we send notices to everybody that, as Don mentioned.
Feel more comfortable, we still have a.
Now, let me just, I do have one question as far as an effective date of when they're notified, or is it official once all the town, E911, the postmaster have all been noticed?
Yeah, I mean, I'll send them out tomorrow. I already got the letters already written, so I just have to put a copy of the resolution.
And then we'll get some signs made and.
Yep.
Do we want a more creative name?
And one
There
was-
used to actually be a station there. It was,
Yeah.
if you ever saw that picture, that's right down in the office.
Where
That's-
the concession stand is.
Right.
I think if it's already
Already.
in
Approximate-
one.
It's already in Google Maps that way,
But
so.
you didn't ask me what I thought of its name. I mean,
Well, we had this conversation for about 15 years now. What's your name?
Grenier
Oh,
Avenue?
that's okay, we can stay with station.
Or do you have your eye on a different street? Okay.
Hey, John, have they given you any information about when this technically takes effect?
I don't, but I will find that out. I can find that out
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't know why he isn't it. I just buy him.
Is there volume screwed on the speakers right there? I see a little round out.
No, it's not going through this. It's,
All right, so somebody want to make a,
So moved.
Wait, hold on, what are we?
With
The name
changing-
change.
Changing Railroad Avenue in Menands to Station Street.
Okay.
in
Should we
Menands.
read the resolution or?
we don't have it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Read that.
Yeah, you just make a motion.
Name I'll motion. I hereby motion and resolve to rename Railroad Ave Menands to Station Street Menands, and that the residents at 32 Railroad Ave Menands will become 32 Station Street Menands.
All in favor?
All right,
Opposed? All right, we got put that to bed.
All right.
That for years.
all right.
Going forward.
All right, you're up.
All right, so, pull the thing up here. So anyway, I had, actually Jen had reached out to me, maybe a month ago, 3 weeks ago, and, put me in touch with a, landscape architect in her office, Britt, I've been called Britt Hume, Britt Basinger. We had talked about some ideas for a possible playground in the south end in the Hutton Street Park over there. And so he spoke to some people in the office and looked at what we might want to do and put together, I guess we'll call it the outlines of what would be a design proposal. And I wanted to get the feel from the board before I spent more time and energy on this, if this is a direction we want to go in. So anyway, I'll share what he sent, and we can figure out from there. So anyway, the design, it would basically be, we would be paying a professional services fee of $7,500. And that would cover preparing an application for a grant, and as well as a concept plan that they would make. They would determine in the process our budget and if we were going to match it or find matching funds for it, as well as there are many moving parts of these kinds of applications. They're not easy and they are competitive. So they would help plan input from the village and especially the homeowners and residents of that area, both for the grant and the design of the playground, something that would fit in that spot, but also be within a budget that we set. We would go from there. Now, I had asked him, I know that the mayor had mentioned earlier about a SAM grant, and he had said that there are some other grants that we would probably need as well. And he had sent me one through Parks and Recreation, New York State Parks and Recreation as well. Anyway, I guess what we want to figure out is whether this is a direction that the board wants to go in. And if so, I can continue working with Britt to get like a concrete design proposal that we would then approve. And then we can move forward working on that. If not, then not. But anyway, I wanted to get a feel for.
Yeah. So I did mention the SAM grant, but this year we're supposed to be gearing it towards the bathrooms at the park. Maybe that could go towards that next week. And another thing is, when we did this the last time, it was proposed for Kingston Street Park.
Oh, okay.
So that might be an option for you as well.
That's true.
what?
That's true.
We just said what, Kingston Street Park?
Right.
That's what we were looking at it the last time.
Well,
And I meant to bring
I'll give you a little history here. When I was clerk,
about that.
about Kingston Street Park.
We talked about it.
There was a lot of, teeter-totters and swings and stuff at Kingston Street. My kids played on it. And there were youth counselors there. Well, and they couldn't get the youth counselors, so the part of the park program come out of there. But we kept the basketball court. And then, North Albany found the basketball court, so they come up with their cars at night and would shine the park on Kingston there, face the court, turn their headlights on, and play basketball all night long, and one of them even had to go out to bring an extension cord and went into Park Lane and plugged it into the wall and ran the extension cord out so they could have their boombox going. So it finally got to the point where we had enough complaints that we took the backboards down and all the equipment was pulled out of there. So, little history for why the park isn't there anymore.
And I meant to try to find materials I had that Ron Miller worked on, to give to you, but I forgot that.
That's all right.
If I can find them, I will.
Okay. Sorry.
Because you have to remember, a park is a park.
Right,
It's for everybody.
right.
Not, just for us. You can't tell people they can't go into that.
Right, of course, just like with Ganser Smith Park.
But what happened was the incentive was taken
Switch
away
your
for,
phone.
just to be a
Yeah.
an area for problems and complaints
Right.
and
There
so
was,
on. And I
The cops
entirely,
should get down and chase them, and
I
an hour
entirely
later,
recall
they
that,
do
yeah.
At the time when Ron worked on it, when that stuff came down, he was looking at bringing in small children, playground equipment.
Right.
To try to get, the basketball
Yeah.
court was a huge driver, so.
whatever. I just giving you the history of why it's not there anymore.
And this is, and I didn't realize all of that. But what I do know from, working with Britt is that playgrounds evolve. I remember the playground at Ganser Smith Park in the 80s. I thought it was the best thing in the world, but things evolve and clearly things were unsafe. Just we're in the 21st century. So things over here would be different. Again, it would be fenced off. There's, they don't use pebbles anymore. They don't use wood chips. They don't even use ground up tire. They have a special pad that goes down there. So there's all different things that bring it into 2023.
Yep.
And not only, so we'd be looking at safety, we'd be both safety, like physical safety as well as public safety. So, I mean, these things do get built all the time in different places. We just have to see if it's something that we'd want to pursue and go from
Was
there.
there an initial budget put together at all?
Well, that's what we have to figure out. That's, it's not that easy because a playground isn't a playground isn't a playground. There's, every playground is different. So you have to work on
So,
that.
in the relative scope of looking at this type of thing, right? It's this big, you can do this range of things to it with this amount of equipment.
So I mean, in speaking with Brent, he's done a lot of playground work. His first question is how much money do we want to spend on this? Because it's really like, you could start here, you could start here. And so he needs some budgetary input before he can really put a lot of thought into what the options are.
And I don't think we know the answer to that. That's the thing. I mean, it's so hard to know. I mean, I could say $20,000 and I'm just pulling that out of thin air. Say $50,000 and I'm pulling it out of thin air. So it's so hard to know. It would almost be like option 1 is this, option 2 is this, and option 3 is this.
But before any of that, should we, maybe kind of survey the
The neighborhood.
neighborhood,
Right.
find out what the demand is, who has children and what ages.
I can
and-
find what they did. Ron did that, he surveyed
Yeah,
all this.
well, yeah, but that's gonna be, you'd have to do a more recent.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not saying go off of that one, I'm just saying maybe it'll show them the questions that were.
Oh,
Well, here's an interesting idea going along with that. Like, and this was even before I was on the board, but I owned my house when we did the Sage Hill Lane and Sky Hollow water project. There was a public hearing for it, and people came out from the neighborhood. Maybe it would be helpful to offer something like that. And I mean, just hear from people, go from.
She's gonna
I'm gonna,
jump out of her chair if she doesn't
yes,
get this. speak.
my concern is for stormwater. With all that area being nothing but houses and driveways and things like that, how are we going to make sure that it's just not water like crazy, like the rain beds and stuff like that is trapped in all that grass is beneficial. Like if we're paving it or doing whatever, it is not even, wood chips or anything. Yeah, so, and then you're looking at 800 North Pearl parking lot if you're doing Kingston. So it's just like nothing but pavement at that point, or something
Well,
that's
because
not.
it's a park, so you still have green space,
Well, sure.
and it's also on a hill, so.
Right. And at the same time, we would also abide by stormwater regulations and make sure that we mitigated that.
It's so small though.
Well-
Right? You're not getting a slip or anything on it, so.
If it's less than an acre, subject. to
Oh, it's that narrowly now.
First, but, you know, at the village's discretion, you know, we could treat it as if it were over an acre and do the
Right.
same kind of stormwater management. That's good, that practice.
That's only my concern, if we're going like, you know, crazy park stuff, and then where's all the water going? I don't know.
You know, then that could be, I mean, you could go in any direction because it could be an opportunity for stormwater education in a public space. You know, there's
Oh, I
lots
like
of
that.
different things you could do with it.
I like that. I mean, you could put in, just like in different communities, put in things and then there's signage for that, teaching people about it. So that would be kind of cool. But I would want something like that in general, just so that we're a good neighbor.
My concern is obviously like the environment, like
Of course.
being friendly with water. That's what I care about.
My concern is we're already coming into this. There's a lot of kids that walk down our streets in the south end, middle hours of the night. Some have been arrested for certain things. And I think that it would be a gathering ground for,
And that's what happened at Kingston Street, basically. It's the
Yeah.
gathering spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, couldn't it be anywhere now? I mean, it's there. It's not like we're buying it. We're just. Like that.
the playgrounds are gonna have, I think, one opportunity to come there and just sit around, hang around. I mean, there's two benches there now, one on either side, Wolford and, not Wolford, but Amsterdam and Hutton. That's just my feeling.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, again, that's why I'm bringing this up. I don't want to do a whole lot of work on this if this is not a direction that the board wants to go with. I don't want to spin my wheels.
Maybe the public, not public hearing, but a public workshop or whatever you call it. Might not be a bad idea.
Is that what that technically was when we had the Sage Hill Water Project? When, remember,
Yeah, I
it's full in here?
Can we just call it an information session?
Yeah.
Well, but I'm more than that, because I also
Public
I want feedback from them. Like, I don't want it to just be us.
So would you send it to some people in South End, or you send it to the entire village?
I mean,
Well,
that's a
all those
great
apartments are like that, so.
Right. That's a great question. I mean, I don't think you can exclude people. If someone wants to come from Sky Hollow, I mean, I don't think you can exclude them.
Well, do you wanna, let me try to find all that paperwork, and then maybe we readdress it next time with.
Sure.
with a-
Yeah, we don't have to decide right now. I mean, Brett isn't exactly on the edge of the seat, waiting for it. We're at the beginning of this right now. So again, if you want to share that with me, and then we can reconvene at the next board meeting, discuss and decide what we want to do. Again, before we get into massive amounts of work and whatnot, I want to make sure this is a direction that the board wants to go in, because it's this grant is these grants, just from reading this Parks and Recreation thing, it's going to be a substantial amount of work. And even though I'm not the grant writer, I certainly would be working with Brett on it.
Right, I'll see what I can find it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. So with the new fire inspections that Menands is now doing themselves, we need to adopt the 2023 fire inspection fee schedule. As we have with other things in the past, we are working off the town of Colony's fee schedule. So anybody wants to move on that?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Nicole worked on getting tablets. One of them was delivered today. You know when the second one's coming in, or not?
Well, originally they were both supposed to be coming in on the 22nd, so we got it early. And then the SIM card coming once Bill approves it, so that should also come on the 22nd. Once I get the second tablet, I'll send the IMEI to Verizon and get the other SIM card, so then we get to go.
Dave, did you see my text today about?
I did. I'm gonna go online and reach out to them about a quote, or we see what we need to do. That's probably that.
Yeah, so the decision was, what's it called again?
City Works.
City Works. That would be who we would go with, because that's where all of our information is currently stored with the town of Colony. But, Dave's
Is that
looking to,
Is that something you use as a fire department?
different, they use.
So it's different. Our program, ESO, does have inspections and stuff in it, but from what I've gathered from Nick DeNovo, who's part of the town investigators, all the village's information is already in CityWorks. So instead of having to start from scratch, we'd be able to transfer everything over and then be able to duplicate what has already been done and update it as we go along.
Would that be a cost to us, or does the town, do they require to just provide it to us?
My guess is that it would probably be a cost to the village, because at that point, the village then,
Maybe, we'll see, because I reached out to the IT lady and she hasn't gotten back to me, so I don't want to keep waiting on her. Dave's gonna look into it, and then I'll get back to her again, like, how can we coordinate getting this stuff sent over to us?
That'd
So
be
that's-
great. If we could get it
I
without.
mean, it is our
having to-
information.
Correct.
All right, so Dave, if you can keep me
Yeah.
updated on that, so we can, I'm still hoping to keep this pushing forward, so get them out the road. Susan,
all I have to say is that now for some good news.
Let's hear the good news.
So as many of you already know, I submitted a grant to JCAP. It was like September and October of last year for $23,000 to take care of the hallway over by the court. And I got notified the other day that in fact they approved my grant.
nice.
Yeah, all right.
The full amount, we got the full amount through the hallway, and we got $750 to get a new shredder for the court. It has an older shredder, so.
Awesome.
So, we've already got a person who works for the village also, and he gave us the estimate and everything, so we're getting the money on April 1st. So that will go to Bill, and then we have 6 months to complete the project and use the money. And
23,000, do we need to get bids? Do we need to get 3 quotes?
What?
23,000, do we need to get 3 quotes for the work?
I think because it's done through JCAP, I don't think.
This
we're
is
required to
JCAP, they're running.
Yeah, it's different. We don't need to get close.
Well, same time.
Okay, yeah, so in any event, I'll notify as soon as Bill tells me we get the money. I'll have, Dan McCourt come over and start the project, but it's gonna include not only the hallway, down the stairs, the window that looks, between the men's and women's bathroom, and also that storage area where they keep the mops and everything, which was $5,000 for them to repair inside of that. So that's gonna be included in that also. So
Great.
it should look pretty nice when we get done. That's all I wanted to share with everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Good news.
Judge, you okay?
Thank you.
And with that. Thanks, Chris.
All right.
I got one other thing. Just
Oh,
to
budget.
put it in the record, the mayor, presented the tentative budget to the village board tonight. And for the fiscal year 23-24, beginning June 1st, 23. Copies are available in the, village office for the public to take like that.
All right, and this is set down for public hearing on April 3rd. Just to appease me, we're gonna approve that again.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So on April 3rd at 6 o'clock, we'll have the public hearing on preliminary budget.
Right, on the budget. Won't be preliminary. Hopefully, well, it's preliminary, but it'll be what the budget looks like. And starting now through the public hearing and until the budget's passed, if there is any changes to the budget that the board wants to make, they have to do it by resolution, and it has to pass by 2/3. 2/3.
Okay,
Is that gonna be posted on the website?
Now, for like the Yes.
Legal matter?
All right, anybody else?
Oh, yes, I have a resolution to make for,
Sorry. no.
yes, a resolution declaring April 2nd, 2023 Education and Sharing Day in the Village of Menands. Issuing this on March 20th, 2023. Whereas a quality education is one of the significant foundations for the continuing success of our state, our country, and our society at large. And in the Village of Menands, we strive for the betterment of all of our citizens through an increased focus on education and sharing. And whereas in order to achieve its highest goals, education must not only impart knowledge, but also teach the students how to live, forming and strengthening their moral character to make a better life for themselves as individuals and for society as a whole, imparting moral and ethical values that have been the bedrock of society since the dawn of civilization. And whereas a global spiritual leader and leading advocate for the advancement of education, the Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem N. Schneerson, stressed that a moral and ethical education empowers every individual to develop their full potential in making the world a better place. And whereas such an education can nurture the unity of diverse peoples through encouraging increased acts of goodness and kindness, imbued with the awareness that even a single positive act of an individual can change the world and usher in an era of global peace, when there will be peace within your walls, serenity within your mansions. That's from Psalms 122. And whereas Education and Sharing Day is observed each year on the Rebbe's birthday in recognition of his outstanding and lasting contributions toward the improvement of education, morality, and acts of charity around the world, a day to pause and reflect on our responsibility to ensure our youth have the foundation necessary to lead lives rich in purpose and fulfillment through service and good works. And whereas April 2nd, 2023 will mark 121 years since the Rebbe's birth, capping a year in which thousands of new institutions and initiatives were launched throughout the world in tribute to this celebration. And whereas this year has added significance to a year of Hakel, a biblical event of unity, education, and spiritual growth, emphasizing how every person is crucial to perfecting the world. Now, therefore, I, Seth Harris, Deputy Mayor of the Village of Menands, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, April 2nd, 2023, to be Education and Sharing Day in the Village of Menands, and call upon government officials, educators, volunteers, and citizens to reach out to those within your communities and work to create a better, brighter, and more hopeful future for all. I, in witness whereof I hereunto set my hand and cause the great seal of the Village of Menands to be affixed at the Village Hall, 250 Broadway, this 20th day of March in the year 2023. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And it's 280.
Well, I didn't know if we were doing it here. We're at 250, so.
Whatever.
I want you to
Did
know.
you say 4-2?
It's done.
But, well, it's going to be on the 2nd.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's,
April.
4-2 is
Sunday. So,
That's just the anniversary.
yeah, so to explain to people that last year it was actually on the 20th, and I was like, so how's this guy's birthday constantly moving? It's that was a question I had, but it's the same reason why Passover and things keep moving, because it's on the lunar calendar. So that's what it's based on. So yeah, it's on a Sunday. That's when it's taking place. This is something that was actually set in motion, believe it or not, by Congress under the Carter administration, and has continued every year since then. So this is happening in the federal government, state governments, and local governments all throughout the United States on this day. So we're just, this is our 3rd year doing this in the Village of Menands. And again, every year it is moved, but it has not if you look at the lunar calendar, which is based on.
And if you could just update that with your name.
Sure.
And then get it to Don so we can put it in the minutes.
I'd be happy to. Do you, I believe I've shared it with you, Don, so I will make that and it should be in real time on your computer.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Seth, my sister thanks you.
What?
April 2nd is my sister's birthday.
Oh, wonderful.
She
Let's-
thanks you.
Oh, well, tell her that she can take the day off,
Right.
assuming that she's in a job in which she can take the day off.
She's retired.
Oh, well, then please tell her to take the day off
Oh, I
on
will.
us. You can thank her for me.
So before we go, we have a couple matters for executive session, but the youth Easter party is Saturday, April 1st from 1 to 3. It's gonna be here because of the unpredictability of weather this time of year. It's gonna be noted in the activities, and our new youth director Samantha is working on all the details. Anybody else have anything?
I don't.
All right, so we have one.
Actually, quick question. 'Cause I just want to ask, because we're in this current budget year and I don't want it to move on us. Any update on the stop signs?
I asked Mike to get me prices and have not heard back from him, but I will ask him again tomorrow.
Awesome, thank you. I want to use this current budget if we can. Thank you. All right, sorry, go ahead.
David has-
One thing real quick,
Sorry.
because I wasn't really open for it. The new engine is here.
Great.
We are gonna do some training on it tonight in the next week or so. Friday it goes out to get relettered, so it will no longer say West Albany. And then I would say probably within about 2 weeks, it'll be fully up. And it's-
That's
Thank you,
exciting.
guys.
Tomorrow I'm going over to have it titled in our name. But it's already insured, so you're all set.
And Don mentioned the key fobs came in.
Correct. Those will be distributed with a very fierce warning of not to be used for anything else other than the apparatus that's it.
Right. So Ryan is right in training conference right now, but the idea is they still have to call it in just to
Okay.
record it. And there's a recording with dispatch, so if by chance the dispatcher is busy,
Okay,
just leave a
it's still
message.
there.
But that's not our primary numbers. Primary numbers are gonna come from the county statements itself.
Okay.
That's just a backup in case there's a question, we can go back and look at
Alright.
that. But if you want to just confirm that with Ryan,
Okay.
I'm giving you secondhand information, so if you want to just confirm that.
I'll double check.
And same with Mike for everybody.
Okay.
All right, so we have personnel and a legal matter
Bill,
for
I'll
executive
update Mike
session.
with that tomorrow.
Um,
And I'll tell Mike that tomorrow.
Yeah.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Are you staying?
I have something, I have the,
Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, Bill.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Dave?
Yes, Bill. We appreciate your support.
I told you.
Right.
Oh, all right.
Right.
Hey,
We're gonna be.
Who seconded?
Seth.
Whatever West Albany is here.
As you heard me say, I told